Long before history had names, before nations drew borders, before mankind learned to measure time, there lived a man whose life would break the boundary between heaven and earth. His name was Enoch. The world Enoch inhabited was no longer the innocent creation it once was. The influence of the Watchers had reshaped humanity, knowledge had increased, ambition had grown, and violence began to spread across the land like a slow-moving storm. Cities expanded, power was sought, and the fear of God faded from the hearts of many. Yet in the midst of this changing world, Enoch walked differently. He did not chase power, nor did he seek fame. He walked in obedience, humility, and reverence. While others lifted their eyes to the earth, Enoch lifted his eyes to heaven, and heaven noticed. One day, without warning, the air around Enoch changed. The ground beneath him felt distant, as if the world itself was loosening its grip. The sky shimmered, not with lightning or fire, but with something deeper, something alive. The boundary between realms thinned, and Enoch felt himself surrounded by a presence unlike anything he had ever known. It was not fear that filled him, but awe. He was lifted, not by force, but by calling. The earth faded beneath him as he ascended beyond clouds, beyond sky, beyond stars. Time lost meaning. Distance dissolved. Enoch was no longer bound to the limitations of flesh. He had entered the unseen realms of heaven. The first realm that opened before him blazed with light beyond human comprehension. Structures formed of fire and crystal stretched endlessly, reflecting colors that shifted and moved like living things. Rivers of radiant light flowed through the heavens, illuminating everything they touched. Angels moved with perfect precision, their presence powerful yet restrained, their forms radiant and terrifying in their purity. These were not gentle figures of legend, but beings of authority, guardians of divine order. Their voices echoed like thunder wrapped in harmony, and the atmosphere itself seemed to respond to their movement. Angels approached Enoch, guiding him through this realm. They spoke not in confusion, but with clarity, revealing the inner workings of creation. He was shown storehouses hidden from human sight, places where snow, hail, wind, thunder, and lightning were kept, waiting for the appointed moment to be released upon the earth. Enoch realized that nothing in creation was random. Every storm, every season, every force obeyed divine command. Order ruled where chaos seemed to reign on earth. As Enoch traveled deeper, the light shifted. He entered regions more solemn, more still. Here he was shown places prepared for souls after death. Some realms glowed with peace and rest, filled with calm light and quiet joy. These were places of waiting for the righteous. Other regions were heavy and dark, filled with silence and sorrow. Souls waited there, aware of what they had lost, separated from the light they had rejected. Enoch understood then that heaven was not only beauty, but justice. Mercy and judgment existed side by side, perfectly balanced. Enoch was then taken along the paths of the heavenly bodies. He watched the sun move through its appointed gates, the moon follow its precise course, and the stars obey laws older than humanity itself. Angels explained that the cosmos never strayed from its command. Every star knew its place. Every orbit was fixed. And then Enoch realized something deeply unsettling. Only humanity had been given the freedom to disobey. The universe obeyed without question, yet mankind alone could rebel. The visions intensified. Enoch was shown thrones surrounded by fire, beings whose presence caused the heavens to tremble. The light was overwhelming, alive, pressing against his very being. At times, Enoch fell to his knees, unable to stand in the weight of what he witnessed. Yet he was not destroyed. He was strengthened, preserved, chosen. Angels spoke to him, explaining that he had been brought not for curiosity, but for purpose. He was to be a witness, a messenger, a voice for truths humanity had forgotten. Then the visions turned forward. Enoch was shown the future. He saw generations yet unborn, humanities repeating the same cycles of pride and rebellion. He saw violence increase, truth distorted, and power pursued without wisdom. He saw the consequences of knowledge divorced from obedience. But he also saw judgment approaching, not as chaos, but as restoration, a cleansing of corruption, a reordering of creation. Evil would not last forever. Injustice would be confronted. Balance would be restored. Enoch was brought to the edge of the heavenly realms, to a place beyond language. There were no images his mind could fully grasp, no words that could describe what stood before him. Only presence remained, eternal, overwhelming, absolute, and there Enoch understood why he had been chosen. His journey was not about elevation, but responsibility. He was to carry this knowledge, to warn, to testify, and to remind humanity that heaven was real, justice was certain, and obedience mattered. When Enoch's journey reached its end, he was no longer the man who had left the earth. He carried knowledge no human before him had known. According to ancient tradition, Enoch did not die as other men did. He walked with God and was taken, leaving behind his testimony. His story stands as both a warning and an invitation, a warning that nothing is hidden from heaven, an invitation to walk in wisdom, a reminder that creation is ordered, Justice is inevitable, and humanity is accountable. And as we reflect on Enoch's heavenly journeys, one question echoes across time. If the heavens opened today, if the hidden realms were revealed, if the truth stood before us as it did before Enoch, would we be ready to see what he saw? Because the heavens still watch, the order still stands, and the journey of humanity is far from over.